Hey guys, it's your boy Jevoy. I don't really know what I'm doing, honestly. I am a photographer turned now videographer, and finding out the differences between that and a cinematographer and so on and so forth. I do not know anything as far as I'm concerned about talking to a camera, using a camera at its most efficient capacity, or any of that. And so I am on a journey, it seems, that I thought had an end, I guess, to sum up all of that, and I don't believe it does. And so I am trying to tap into that excitement, right? And trying to tap into that creativity that I am positive that I can bring out. It just is taking some time. So a little bit about me. I closed my moving company about 2 years ago, and I had that moving company for 3 years, and prior to that I was a mover for various moving companies for about 6 years. So total about 9 or so years of experience in moving, which made starting that company really easy because I felt like an expert in my field. I felt like I had skills that people needed, and I was the best at it, in my opinion. And whenever I was not the best at, I would just get help, get advice, or just hire those guys to be part of my company. And so I learned how to just solve people's problems with my skills and the skills of others using the moving company. But due to a few vandalism things and theft things, and just risk overall with motor vehicle transport, I decided to close that business. And right before I had done that, I had bought a camera because I wanted to start taking photos of the guys on the trucks. And I bought a drone because I was like, how cool would it be to have a shot of the trucks going down the freeway and blah blah blah. It was a lot of fun, and I was not sure what I was doing at the time, but I knew I wanted to be a little bit more creative and use my body less, I guess, and more my brain to create. And so with the camera, I looked at it and said, okay, well, I guess I don't want to continue, not working for myself. I would hate to have to go work for somebody else. And so I decided the camera was my next venture, whatever that looked like. I didn't know how to make money with a camera, but I figured it would be better than going and applying somewhere else. So I jumped into YouTube, and thus begun the Peter McKinnon, the names are evading me now, but there's such a long list of names and people that I just admire their work. And I thought, okay, so that's what you can do with your camera. Very cool. How do I do that? And how do I charge people for that, right? And so I thought, well, it's a camera, it takes photos. Let's just start there. So I paid for a course on the New York Institute of Photography online course, and I started it, and I loved it. I did not finish it, but it did give me some structure as to what is ISO, what is this? And prior to that, I was just on YouTube kind of scrounging around, scratching my head going, what? Because these videos are not curated for you in the beginning, right? You're just kind of watching everybody's take on the best camera, the best settings, and those settings don't work for you, like, at all. They really do not. And you then say, okay, ISO this, f-stop this, shutter speed this, and you go to the, basement of your grandma's house, and you're like, it doesn't look like it does in their shot. And there's many reasons for that, and I couldn't tell you why without seeing your setup and giving you specific advice. And so over time, I learned that the best camera to buy, the best lens, the best filter, the best this really wasn't for me, but I did fall into the trap. So I built a whole studio using the space that I had rented for the moving company, and I just turned that into a photo studio. It was now, instead of boxes and furniture, just different furniture and a lot less boxes. But it was fun. It was fun creating the studio, setting up the backdrops, figuring out what to do when your backdrop is just white or black or blue, and not having any set design clue, anything as it pertains to beautifying something. I was a grungy move guy for years. I wore sweatpants, drank Red Bull, and smoked cigarettes. That was breakfast, that was lunch, and that was my life. And it was very different when now people are like, beautiful, and you're expected to be beautiful. And you're like, nah, I just want to capture the beauty. So I started really honing in on studio photography because, well, I had the space and I had the time to practice and learn. So I started learning, started going on Facebook, inviting some people to shoot with, but I didn't leave the studio often, and that was to my own demise. Because as I would later find out, shooting with natural light in the sun is its own beast, its own monster, and something that I was not prepared for, and nor did I know what to do, because I went out and shot at noon thinking, what's wrong with my camera? What's going on? But exposing for shadows and highlights at that intensity, it requires more work on your part to know what to do, like getting under shade and, bringing a diffusion material to cover up the sun above your subject, so on and so forth. Things I had no clue about. And so I was brute forcing my way into what I thought would be beautiful footage, beautiful photos, even though I did not quite understand what I was doing. And it was an interesting way to learn. Let's just say that. And so back to my studio, back to the fact that I now had an expense of a studio that I did not consider. I thought maybe it wouldn't take that much to cover it. Now the studio costs about $5,000 a month, and I was making $0 a month. Matter of fact, I was spending money trying to figure out how to make money with this thing. And so I was spending money on courses, spending money on, 15,000 preset packed LUT things that I knew nothing about how to install or why I needed them or how they would help me. And I just was like, I can leverage money because I had this successful moving company. I need to just get ready to build this thing. And I wasted so much time just researching lists and things that people were suggesting versus doing and finding out myself. And that is the comedy of all of those errors for me, is you don't learn by just watching and listening. You learn by doing and experiencing and coming to your own conclusions and then going, okay, that does not work for me, or that does work for me. And so part of my problem that I was having was I was trying to build the plane as I was learning how to fly. And so I said, okay, well, if I understand photography a little bit, I have the studio, I've learned a little bit, it's been about 6 months. What can I do with that if I don't know how to sell it at a bigger scale? Because right now I've done models who I have to pay, or it's a free exchange, or it's a birthday party here and there that pays you $50, or you're just donating your time. And I'm like, I want to get back to making thousands of dollars a month. Like, how do I do that? Part of that was, okay, if I don't know how to do it, somebody might know how to do it. So I started looking up business coaches, and I managed to get a referral from one, and it was the most amazing experience ever. Vanguard Collective was the name of the company, and the consultant Troy Romeyer, he's now one of my best friends. And at the time I was so focused on just paying the bills. Screw passion, screw art, screw figuring out my style, my voice, my whatever. How do I get a clean product the client will like and they'll pay for, so I can pay for my studio? And so I needed to figure this out. And so I started stressing more than I started creating. And if somebody wasn't paying me to be in front of my camera, I didn't feel justified in using it. And I started to overlook the snails in the backyard, the potential art that could be created just by walking outside my own front door. I started driving and traveling to places and going to Hawaii to see what I can do, shooting things I never edited. They're just sitting there because I thought this was just go shoot it. But then, then you learn you have to go edit things. And that's where the magic happens, at least for photography, right? You shoot an ugly photo, but you can turn it into a masterpiece if you know how to edit. And that part blew my mind because it was the slowest learning process of my life. I thought I knew what color was, but I didn't. There's warmth, there's tint, there's, Kelvin, temperature. There's so much about color and grading and creating a look that I was not privy to, and I thought was just slapping a LUT on there. And so I bought all these LUTs, and I'm like, cool, let's figure out how to use that. Slapped them on there. There's my style. done, client happy, but I wasn't happy. And so after a while of just kind of half-assing the business aspect and half-assing the creative aspect, because really I couldn't focus on either. I felt like a student, but I also felt like a teacher. And somehow I was supposed to guide my clients on a journey through something that I didn't understand. And that created so much anxiety for me. I didn't know it was creating anxiety, but for months I just was not doing well. Depressed. But I went through my motions. I joined networking groups. I started challenging myself more. I said, I am just going to dive head first. And now, at this point, I've decided I am a full-time student, at least until January of 2025. I am now a full-time business owner of Palmer House Productions. I'm just going to create a cinematic image. I'm going to try. I'm going to use the cameras that I spent all this money on. I'm going to use those lenses. And if I need to change them, I'll know why. Not because the YouTube said it, not because a blog said it, because I know exactly why this lens is no longer working for me, so on and so forth. And part of that journey involves some more higher education. And so I just flew back from New York. I did the New York Film Academy 1-week program, and that was a lot of fun. I had so much fun, and I learned a lot about lighting, a lot about casting, a lot about filmmaking that I wanted to stay focused and just transfer over to my clients right now as I serve them on just social media and the web. And some of the filmmaking principles will consistently transfer over to the art that I create for each of these companies, whether they're a lawyer, whether they're a plumber, or whether they're a beverage company. I do not care. My goal is to tell their story at the most efficient, highest level I can technically, and also using all the skills that I've learned to deliver that to their clients. And so I finished the New York program, and in 3 weeks, I am off to London for the London Film Academy for 1 month. I'm excited for that for many reasons. I just like London, and I like culture. I'm from Jamaica, Kingston, Jamaica, born and raised. I live in the US, but cultures all over the world excite me, and so I'm really looking forward to London for a month, November 20th through December 20th. So I have a few models lined up through a platform I use called modelmanagement.com, and so I'm excited to go ahead and shoot with these people. I got to shoot with some of them in New York as well, and I think that this could be really fun for me. It could be really excellent for my clients with what I learn about storytelling and really like a production, like creating a production set and bringing all my gear and making the client feel special, like it's a Hollywood experience. Like how do I create that for them and deliver the product that they are actually looking for? And so once I finish London Film School, I'm excited for that. But I also am doing the UW film program. And that is an 8-month program running from September through August or something. I can't do any math right now. But it's an 8-month program, and I had joined the waiting list, and they called me a month ago. And so I got accepted because 2 people dropped out, and so now I'm part of 3 schools this year, and I'm so excited. The UW film program is 1 day a week, 3 hours on Wednesdays, and I'm stoked because there's now even more learning and more concentration. And honestly, I'm just gonna hire anybody in the class that shows exceptional talent and shows grit and shows gumption, because I just want to surround myself with a local team that I can build, like the Avengers or the Justice League, call it whatever you want, but I want that team that I can say, okay, my clients are relying on us and let's do this. And regardless of the scope of work, the project, I have those in my network ready to take care of those problems with the solutions necessary. And so, wish your boy luck. I've got a lot on my plate. I feel a little crazy, but I also feel determined, motivated, and I don't feel scared of my own capability. I think I'm taking all of this on because I want to see what I'm made of, and maybe I'll find out I have more in the tank than I think, and maybe I'll find out that I'm still human and get tired like everybody else, and figuring out how to balance that will just be something I do. And so stay tuned. Thank you for listening this long, and if I've helped motivate anybody at any point, please feel free to let me know, because honestly, I don't know what I'm doing here. Have a good one.